What is the horse problem in Chinese history? Hey everybody, this is the Scholar General Morgenländischen. In today's video, we're going to be talking a little bit about military history, and in particular, horses. China, it has all these dynasties and they're super strong and they have these big armies and everything, but some dynasties, in particular the Song and the Ming, had a horse problem where, to put it simply, they couldn't get enough quality horses for their military. And why is that? China is usually fighting these nomads on the Eurasian steppe, and the thing about nomads is they have a lot of horses. Like, the whole point of the steppe is that it's too dry for most agriculture in a lot of it, but it has a lot of grass. And what can you do with grass? You can, grow horses or raise horses, basically. So, like, the Mongols' historical account suggests that on average there was like 3 to 4 horses per Mongol soldier, which most of the time is reversed. Most armies have less horses than soldiers, but the Mongols was reversed. So that's pretty unique. And in order to combat nomads and, go toe-to-toe with nomads, you have to have a large cavalry force. If you take a look at this software called 10-gram height mapper, which provides high-resolution, topographic maps of the Earth, you'll be able to see what I mean. Basically, darker areas are lower and flatter, and more white areas are higher in elevation. Right here we have this very low region that's very flat, and it's where the Yellow River drains into the ocean. This is called the North China Plain, or sometimes in Chinese sources it's called the Central Plain, or Zhongyuan. If we look at Zhongyuan, it's an area that's used extensively for agriculture. It's all cultivated. Early on it would have been a lot of millet and wheat and, everything else that you base, all these grains, and, China is famous for having large populations, and part of the reason they can do that is because there's extensive agriculture in this region. The problem is, it's not good for raising horses, because if we just go north and we go over the Taihangshan, or the Taihang Mountains, this is the Eurasian steppe. And the Eurasian steppe, as I said earlier, is good for raising horses because all you can grow there is grass. So you have a lot of horses, and not only do you have a lot of horses, horses out on the steppe also are in pretty good shape because they have a lot of space to be able to run around, and whenever they're running around, they're also conditioning their hooves. So Mongolian horses actually don't wear horseshoes because they're able to keep their hooves in good shape, as, wild horses did. However, now if we go back to China, certain dynasties, such as the Tang, were able to control extensive regions of the Eurasian steppe and, be able to secure a lot of horse pasture land out over the Taihangshan. But the Song and the Ming Dynasty did not control this region, and they really struggled to get enough horses. And in fact, starting kind of in the Song Dynasty, but really taking off in the Ming Dynasty, was this thing called the Chama Si, or the, tea for horse trade. So basically the Ming Dynasty, in order to get a lot of horses, they just started taking tons of tea from areas like Sichuan and shipping it north and trading it to the Mongols for horses in return. It might seem crazy that the Mongols are just going to give up a bunch of horses for tea, but you have to think about what it's like to really live on the steppe. I mean, it's pretty hard to find water, so what do you drink? You mostly just drink milk and fermented milk, maybe sometimes some water. So whenever you're limited to milk and fermented milk, having a little tea to add to your milk, or maybe some water, is pretty good, and it really makes things better. It's also just a fact that tea has played a massive role in history, and I would never underestimate the power of tea in, securing pretty much anything. Now, according to the historical accounts, we have things like 500 tons of tea being shipped to the border and being traded for 14,000 horses annually for a short time during the early Ming Dynasty. And, the historical records aren't always accurate. Of course, it's very hard to calculate logistics properly, even nowadays, let alone 600 years ago. However, you do have to think about the massive quantities that are involved here. Now, 500 tons doesn't necessarily sound like a lot until you think about the fact that just dried tea leaves, and, they'd be compacted into these things called tea bricks, where it's like a square shape. Dried tea is not the densest material in the world, and you're shipping 500 tons of it. So that's a lot of volume of tea that you're just bringing in. And you have to think about how many cups of tea 500 tons makes. So this is a massive amount of tea, and in return they're trying to get a massive amount of horses. Like I said, 14,000 which is a lot. But it just goes to show how many they actually needed. And there's also a problem in China where it's hard to get competent horse breeders as well, because it takes a lot of people, educated populace, to be able to train 14,000, war horses. It's much different to just kind of teach a horse to be docile and ride it around. And it's a whole nother level to be able to train it to be a proper war horse and not, get skittish in battle, because horses are prey animals and they're very skittish. So the Ming Dynasty sometimes would really struggle to find enough competent horse breeders and therefore get enough competent war horses. So in conclusion, this video just kind of goes to show the power of geography and how much of an influence this can have on, the rise and fall of dynasties and how much power they are able to wield and project. If you've gotten all the way to this point in the video and you still haven't subscribed or anything, I don't know what you're doing, because you need to subscribe. This channel is awesome and we talk about stuff like this a lot, and weapons and martial arts and military history. It's just cool stuff in general. And if you already have subscribed, give it a like, leave a comment down below and tell me what you think. Thank you all for watching, and don't forget to stay sharp.